Hi, folks. Hope I find you all well. Um, I hadn't really planned on doing any vinyl tags this year, but over the last week or so, I've watched a couple of uh, responses to a vinyl tag by Dale at Gatefold 33 and John, Mr. Baggy Hi-Fi, and they were in response to a tag created by Jack at the Vinyl Voyage. And this tag was to do with album art. Very important, obviously, to a lot of us vinyl collectors. Well, Jack set a dozen prompts for this tag. So I'll try and go through them as quickly as I can. First up was show an album with a band artist just looking cool. Well, couldn't be anything else but the Grateful Dead with their 1980 album, Go to Heaven. Just look at them. Totally cool. At least I think that's what was going through their head when they did this album cover, or the photographer's head. What were they thinking of? Who did they think they were? The Bee Gees. So I'll leave it up to you. Is this cool? The second prompt was show your weirdest, trippiest, most controversial album cover. I don't think they come much more weird than this one. And to be honest, it matches the music. And that's Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask Replica. And you could say it's quite trippy on the inside, but that is a horrible cover, to be honest. But it is weird. And I understand that that's not actually a trout. I think I've read that it's a carp. Don't know anything about fish, but yeah, definitely weird. Number 3, show your sexiest album cover. Well, here's one for the ladies. Guru Guru with their album Hinton. Isn't that? Look at that. Brilliant. As sexy as hell, isn't it? Oh, God. This, along with the Trout Mask Replica, could be the answer for the next prompt. But God, is that sexy. Ladies? The next, number 4, was show an album cover that you dislike. I took that to mean an album cover that you dislike, but the music's brilliant. And I've gone with this album by the great krautrocker Achim Reichel, great album of echo guitar. This is Die Grüne Reise, or The Green Journey by Achim Reichel. And I just hate that cover. It's just disgusting. Ugh. Again, what was he thinking? If he just... No, there's no redeeming qualities about that, except for the music inside. Number 5, show an album cover that features a creature from the animal world. And I've gone with a album by Vangelis, one of 2 that I think were released in early 70s against his will, but excellent album, and that's The Dragon. And before you say a dragon isn't a real creature, look at Wales. It's their, symbol. And surely they wouldn't have the dragon as their national symbol if it wasn't real. The next one I struggled with. It's show an album cover with an interesting backstory. And what's the story? Like I say, I thought about this for a while and I just couldn't come up with anything. I'm sure I've forgotten some interesting ones, but I'm going with the obvious one. And that is the Beatles and Abbey Road. Now, this is the album where the Beatles provided definitive proof that Paul McCartney had died in a car crash in 1966. And they give clues. Starting off with the back cover, you'll see that there is, where the Beatles sign, there is a crack down there showing a split. And the dots up here can be formed into a 3, so 3 Beatles, not 4. And then on the front cover, you've got the car with its number plate, which finishes with the characters 28IF, showing that Paul McCartney would have been 28 if he'd lived. And then you've got the band themselves. In front, you have John Lennon, all in white, as the medic doctor that pronounced Paul dead. Behind him, you have Ringo, all in black, depicting The Undertaker. At the back, you have George, all in denim work clothes as the gravedigger that dug Paul's grave. And there you have Paul in a loose-fitting suit which depicts the corpse. He's holding a cigarette in his right hand, though Paul was left-handed, and he's out of step with the other 3, all depicting that he's not the real Paul. And also he's barefooted, so yeah, he depicts the corpse. The band did come up with some story of it was a hot August day when they took this photograph, and Paul felt uncomfortable in his shoes, so he took them off. But who's going to believe that? So that's the story behind Abbey Road. Number 7 was show an album that has an interesting sleeve design, for instance, a die cut or pop-up sleeve. And I've gone with the great Welsh band Man and their album Be Good to Yourself at Least Once a Day, which when you open it up, opens up as a map of Wales. Excellent album cover, beautifully designed. So that's that one. Number 8, show an album where the sleeve art was the primary reason you decided to take a chance on the music. Now, this next album was released in 73, and I must have bought it either late 73, early 74, very early in my record buying career. And I bought it because of the cover. And that's Magna Carta's Lord of the Ages. At this time, I was a Yes fan, big Yes fan. And the cover was done by Roger Dean, obviously famous for his Yes covers. So when I saw that, I don't think I'd heard of Magna Carta, so I thought I'd give it a chance. And I'm glad I did. I really enjoy this album, particularly the title track, Lord of the Ages, which has a superb guitar solo in it. Excellent stuff. But yeah, this one I bought basically on the basis of the Roger Dean cover. Number 9, show your most battered sleeve that has the most wear and tear, ring wear, creases, tears, or an album that has a particular battle scar. Well, I don't tend to buy albums that are really in bad condition, though I buy a lot from record fairs, and sometimes they're a bit worse for wear. So I struggle with this one a bit, but I've gone with a very early one I bought. Must have been back in the late 70s, early 80s. And that's the Grateful Dead's Historic Dead. And I don't know if you can really tell, there's a lot of wear on the album cover, and it's sellotaped along the top and the bottom. The spine is virtually unreadable. So that's the one I've gone with as my most battered one. This is an album that was released along with another album called The Vintage Dead, recorded in September 1966, but not released, I think, until 71, without the band's participation or I think even knowledge, I think. And really, I should have included it in the Grateful Dead compilation I just did recently, but I must admit I forgot all about this one. That's my most battered. Like I say, I don't think you can tell that. My most battered sleeve. Number 10, show your favourite inner gatefold. And I've gone, there's loads I could have picked here, but I've gone with this album by Earthless, the American psych rock, free rock band, Live in the Mojave Desert, Volume 1, recorded in 2020 and released in 2021. And I think it has an excellent inner cover. Sorry for the glare, I'm not going to take it out of its sleeve, but I've always loved live shots of bands, and I think that's just superb. Hope you can see it. Yeah, so that's a favourite, probably not my most favourite, but a favourite inner gatefold. Number 11, show your favourite album cover, and why is it your favourite? I'm not sure I have a particular favourite. There's lots I love. I could have shown something by one of my favourite album cover artists, Roger Dean. For example, the Greenslade first album. Love just about everything that Roger Dean has done in the album cover field. Brilliant. Or I could have shown another of my favourite artists, Rick Griffin, with his cover for Grateful Dead's Aoxomoxoa. Though a lot of Rick Griffin's best work was done for concert posters. Brilliant artist. But I think I'm going to go with another Grateful Dead album, and I've always loved this image, and that's the cover of Blues for Allah. It's a glossy cover. Sorry, you're getting the glare there. And this was done by Philip Garris. I've always loved that image of the skeleton playing the violin or the fiddle. Brilliant stuff. And well, not quite finally, but number 12, if you had to live in an album cover for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Again, another one I struggled with. Could have gone for one of Roger Dean's fantasy covers or something like Caravans in the Land of Grey and Pink. Would have loved those. But I've got to go with what John, Mr. Baggy Hi-Fi, came up with. I've thought about it, and he's absolutely right. I can't think of a better album cover that I'd like to live in for the rest of my life. And that's Aoxomoxoa. The back cover of the band and family represents, I think, San Francisco in the late 60s, 67, 68. and that Haight-Ashbury scene, that's where I would have loved to have lived and gone to all those concerts, the free concerts in the park and everything like that. Would have loved that, absolutely. So John's right. That's where I would love. I can't think of anywhere better. And finally, Jack set a final prompt, which we could do if we wanted to, and that was to create our own album cover for an album released by our channel. And as my channel is Sounds from the West Coast, this is what I've come up with. Think it looks good? Would you buy it? Well, if you would, I can start a Kickstarter page. Only charge you 50, 60 quid, and I'll autograph it for you. Anyway, thank you, Jack, for that. That was interesting to do. So I'll hopefully see you all again soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
One fine morning, I woke up early. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao. One fine morning, I woke up early to find the fashions at my door.